Our heroine stands there, deeply contemplating as memories from her past come rushing back like a sudden downpour. One memory in particular catches her attention. A young boy from her neighborhood who faced the same bullying she once endured. Despite being 10 years younger, he formed a strong bond with her. The memory of his tearful confession, his nose and cheeks bandaged, lingers vividly in her mind, a touching testament to his resolve as he walked away. 10 years later, a boy walks into her shop, his eyes locking onto hers as he addresses her as Saki-chan. With a serious expression and some battle scars, he walks over to her and casually inquires if she's got a minute to chat. Looking up at him, she's struck by how much he's changed, a wave of happiness and surprise washing over her. His unexpected presence stirs a flood of memories, and she feels an urgent need to reconnect, suggesting they step outside as she notices the other customers watching, drawn by the sudden tension between them. He nods, agreeing softly with her. However, as she looks at Keigo Morita, she's struck by the sadness in his eyes and the serious expression on his face, which fills her with concern. She can't help but wonder why he's not saying anything and what's troubling him. She recalls that he's now a junior in high school, having started the new school year just this month, and she's amazed by how much he's grown. As she walks behind him, she can't shake the thought that the boy ahead shares the same name as the one from her memories. But as she gazes at him, her thoughts are interrupted by the realization that he's grown into a completely different person. He notices her staring and turns around, his eyes narrowing into a glare. He looks at her questioningly. She becomes flustered, apologizing hastily as she struggles to process her emotions. To her, the boy in front of her is still the bright and innocent child from her memories, the kind of boy she wanted to protect. But as she looks at him now, she's struck by the disconnect between her memories and the person standing before her. She has always imagined that the boy would grow up to be naive and dreamy, diligently wearing his school uniform. But her thoughts are interrupted by his voice, calling out to her and asking if she is always thinking about weird things, his tone teasing. Feeling a flush rise to her cheeks, she apologizes nervously. He tells her to calm down, pointing to a nearby bench and suggesting they sit there. She nods, and they walk over to the bench together. As they sit down, she turns to him, her eyes searching his face. She asks if he remembers his promise, her voice filled with emotion. He looks back at her, his expression serious, indicating that he remembers the promise and that's why he's there. A lump forms in her throat as his words sink in. He's here because of the promise. Overwhelmed, she longs to confirm it's truly him. Flushed, she notes how different he looks now, making her need for certainty even stronger. Hoping she doesn't seem rude, she tries to process her emotions. With a big inhale, he confesses he returned for her, bringing up the pact they made to go out once he was a bit more grown up, even though he's not totally there yet. His words catch her off guard, sending a rush of nostalgia from that promise flooding back. Wondering if he really meant to say that he came back for her because he wanted to date her, she recalls that he was only in first grade back then, implying that it was just a childhood promise. Despite this, he believes that his age at the time of the promise doesn't matter, and his feelings for her wouldn't change. As she struggles to understand his perspective, she suggests that all he has are his recollections from his childhood, which might be rooted in nostalgia rather than reality. Realizing that there must have been some kind of misunderstanding, she knows she must firmly turn him down as an adult. She acknowledges that she's flattered by his feelings, but there's been a misunderstanding. She points out, half teasing, that she's 10 years older and it's not fair to joke with adults. But he looks at her with steady resolve and replies that their age difference means nothing to him. With unwavering conviction, he admits she's been the only person on his mind for the past decade. He asks her to be completely honest with him, admitting that at this point he doesn't care what her answer might be. His bluntness makes her blush, acknowledging that his changed appearance must be bewildering. He confesses that he can't imagine anyone else but her in his life. Even if she were to date someone else, he adds, it wouldn't change his feelings. She gazes at him, a hint of fear in her eyes, and gently tells him he doesn't need to worry about that now. Quickly clarifying, she adds that she's not suggesting they start dating right away. Before she can finish, he interrupts with a suggestion that takes her by surprise. Why not start by being friends again? Her eyes widen as he smiles faintly, saying that perhaps their meeting now is fate. His words strike a chord in her, and she thinks about how he's saying the same thing she once said. She recalls asking him 10 years ago if they could be friends. Looking at him now, she thinks it took courage for him to come talk to her like this. Feeling inspired, she holds his hand with both of hers and thinks that she must also be brave. She smiles and tells him she'd love to be his friend. suggesting they hang out like old times as there's still so much to talk about. Surprised, he falls silent. With a grin, she asks if it's too much trouble for him to visit her shop again. He agrees, and they head there together. Once inside, she apologizes for asking him to return and presents him with a flower as a token of their friendship. Seeing his serious expression, she panics, apologizing again and explaining she thought the daisy was a simple gesture. He reassures her, saying he doesn't dislike it, calming her down. Holding the flower, he promises to take care of it. She thanks him, her heart light. When someone comments on her happiness, she reflects on how, despite 10 years apart, he knew exactly where to find her. Curious, she asks how Keigo-kun knew, and he explains that there aren't many girls named Stachi with distinctive glasses like hers, which haven't changed much. His blunt remark about her glasses being tacky makes him blush, and he expresses joy that she hasn't changed. She notices that even though he looks different, his smile is the same, and in that moment, she realizes she hasn't changed either. When he asks what she means, she quietly thinks that he still feels as attached to her as ever. Sachi Hanasaki, the flower shop manager, reviews her sales figures and notes that while recent sales have been good, they have taken a nosedive since his return. As Keigo-kun enters the shop, she greets him warmly, and he tells her to enjoy browsing. However, as she attempts to focus on her work, she feels increasingly nervous due to his proximity. Her concentration waning, she politely informs him that she's unable to work effectively with him standing so close. Just then, an employee steps into the shop, addressing her as boss and bringing to her attention a flower that is sagging slightly. As she turns to look at the flower, he inquires if he should put it in some water and trim the stem. She acknowledges his observation, noting that the flower is indeed wilted, despite her having watered it that morning. Recognizing her employee's helpfulness, she assures him that she will tend to it momentarily, grateful for the distraction from the nervousness she felt earlier. She instructs him to continue attending to the customers, but notices that he's glaring at someone, Keigo's gaze fixed intently on the same person who's been making her nervous. As she follows his line of sight, she realizes that his attention is focused on a particular individual. He turns to her, his expression inquiring, and asks for his identity. She explains that the man is a part-time worker, and as if on cue, the worker turns to them, sensing their attention, and extends a friendly greeting. Toda responds by introducing himself, explaining that he works at the shop on Tuesdays and Fridays, trying to establish a connection. Marita's lingering stare makes Toda uneasy, prompting him to comment nervously. He suddenly hugs Marita from behind, pointing out his North High uniform. He casually shares that he's a senior at West High on the soccer team, and asks about Marita's interests. Startled, Marita pulls away, commenting on Toda's overly familiar behavior with a mix of surprise and wariness. Toda shrugs, claiming he hears it often, though his expression betrays his casual tone. Marita's face darkens as he growls that it wasn't meant as a compliment. Watching the tense exchange, Seichi thinks to herself how oddly well they seem to be getting along. She considers jotting down notes about their dynamic, but excuses herself to assist a customer. When she approaches, the woman suddenly hurries off. Toda remarks wryly on how busy they've been and teases Marita, suggesting he starts helping out since he's just taking up space. He jokes that someone with his intimidating look working at a flower shop might even attract new customers. Marita's expression darkens, but the employee remains calm, his easygoing demeanor diffusing the tension. With a persuasive tone, the worker tells him that if he works really hard, the boss will admire him too. He's willing to bet on it. This seems to strike a chord as Marita declares his intent with a resolute tone, prompting Toda to flash a cool smile and instruct him to grab an apron in the back, clearly satisfied. Watching Marita walk away, the worker smirks, amused by how easily he was won over. Meanwhile, he puts on the apron and greets the approaching customer girls, but they take one look at him and flee in terror, their sudden departure a comical contrast to Toda's earlier success. He looks at him with a curious expression, asking if he has any prior work experience. Marita confesses that he doesn't, having consistently failed at interviews. He nods thoughtfully, deciding to show him some essential skills before starting work. He eyes Marita inquisitively, wondering what specific skills he has in mind. With a wink, he advises him to always smile broadly. Marita tries to follow this advice, but his smile comes out more like a scowl. Toda chuckles at the sight, remarking that customers will likely misinterpret his smile as anger. He also cautions him that his tense demeanor will only make the customers uncomfortable, advising him to relax a little instead. He suggests that thinking about something he genuinely enjoys might help him smile naturally. Taking his advice, he focuses on a pleasant memory. Meanwhile, Sachi finishes crafting the bouquet and prepares to deliver it to the customer. As she reappears, she spots the two of them and wonders what happened in her brief absence. Panicked, she sits down, thinking he shouldn't be working there. Her mind races, imagining what might have been said to make him look so distressed, only to realize, to her surprise, that he's actually smiling. Toda approaches, explaining he put him to work since he was just standing around. Concerned, she asks if the worker pressured him, but he reassures her to have a little faith. Flustered, she quickly apologizes, clarifying she didn't mean to imply anything negative. Meanwhile, he wonders aloud about the kind of work she does, but his curiosity gives way to irritation as he watches her interact with the worker. In contrast, she remains convinced that his kindness will leave a lasting impression, knowing that he has always been the type of person to remember such gestures. Keigo's curiosity about her has always been strong, and now he finally has the chance to learn more. Watching him, she bursts into laughter, charmed by his earnest effort. With a smile, she asks if Keigo will consider officially working there, emphasizing that it's entirely his choice. The worker approves of the idea, calling it a good suggestion. She clarified that they'll need a parental consent form due to his age. Keigo, already anticipating this, impresses her with his maturity. She stresses the importance of both customer service and manual labor, and he listens intently. Grateful, Marita assures her he'll bring the required documents as soon as possible, eager to make it official. Placing her hands gently on Marita's cheeks, she expresses pride in his performance on his first day. Her eyes sparkle with enthusiasm as she conveys her eagerness to work together in the future. However, her gesture makes him feel flustered, and he perceives her behavior as overly paternal. She apologizes profusely, her heart racing with embarrassment, and explains that her actions were merely a deeply ingrained habit. She acknowledges that her behavior was inappropriate and recognizes that he is distinctly different from her past acquaintances. The worker's sudden interruption reminds them of his presence, causing their hearts to skip a beat. Following the worker's remark, she becomes flustered and hastens to return to her customer service duties. As she quickly moves away, the worker offers her a cautionary smirk, warning her to slow down to avoid tripping. She reflects on their behavior, realizing that they had been somewhat rude to the customers. The next day, he returns to work and submits the necessary documents to her. Upon reviewing the paperwork, she confirms that everything is in order, finalizing his employment. He is eager to commence their collaborative work. As he officially begins his part-time job, she observes his customer service skills and notes that customers tend to flee after interacting with him. She thinks to herself that his services may require some improvement. As Marita approaches a customer, a young girl, he asks if she has any questions, inviting her to share her concerns. However, she gazes at him with a frightened expression and swiftly flees the scene, leaving him bewildered. He attempts to stop her, but she vanishes from sight, prompting him to wonder what he did wrong. Witnessing this exchange, Seichi thinks to herself that it has been several days since he began working at the store, yet despite his determination, his customer service skills remain underdeveloped. His struggles with customer interactions have become increasingly apparent, and she notices that he seems worried about the issue. Recognizing that she had entrusted his training to Toda-kun, but with him absent today, she decides to intervene and offer her guidance. She approaches Keigo-kun and proposes that they engage in smiling practice together, suggesting that it will help him improve his customer interactions and build confidence. He seems uncertain about the idea, but she reassures him that it's a valuable skill to develop. She apologizes for any confusion and clarifies that her intention is not to imply that he is incapable of smiling, but rather to demonstrate how to smile in a manner that will put customers at ease. He acknowledges his need for improvement and requests her assistance, showing a willingness to learn and grow. She exemplifies a warm, retail smile and encourages him to replicate her expression, offering constructive feedback to help him improve. As they initiate their after-hours practice, she reminds him to simply offer a friendly retail smile, emphasizing the importance of authenticity and approachability. However, he suddenly covers his eyes and apologizes, explaining that his eyes are experiencing minor discomfort, but it is not a significant issue. Despite this minor setback, she remains committed to helping him improve his customer service skills. As he stares at her with a somber look, he questions if his grin is truly blinding. This leads to a chat about customer service, where she stresses the significance of making a good first impression. Claiming that a smile is the secret to top-notch service, She applauds his friendly greetings but advises adding a genuine smile to truly charm customers. She gently suggests that a little boost in confidence wouldn't hurt either. After plopping down in defeat, he turns to her and wonders aloud if he's a lost cause. Quick to cheer him up, she grabs his arm and assures him that he's got what it takes. With a mix of worry and determination on his face, he agrees to give it his all to please her. This vulnerable moment brings them closer, adding weight to her duty to help him improve. She tells him to hold on to that vulnerable expression, causing him to awkwardly hide his face and ask why she's making him do it. She urges him to drop the act and to remember the feeling so they can work together. Blushing and flustered, he sheepishly asks her to take a step back, claiming she's too close for comfort. She realizes that, as an adult woman, she got too close to a reluctant high school boy and quickly apologizes, explaining that she got carried away. As they continue to practice, Sachi confesses that she is sorry for being overly excited, as she rarely gets to have fun conversations like this. Sachi asks Keigo and Toda about working in a flower shop during May. Toda quickly points out that May is hectic with events like Mother's Day, Children's Day, and Golden Week. Sachi agrees, noting it's a positive but overwhelming time, especially with a shortage of male helpers. She asks if they can take on extra shifts, sharing how last year's staffing shortage left her exhausted. Both eagerly volunteer, earning her gratitude as she braces for a busy month ahead. Later, as work begins, Toda holds up a bundle of iris leaves, asking if he's prepared enough. Sachi confirms it's perfect. Keigo, holding the leaves with a confused look, asks about their purpose. She explains they're for Boys' Day on May 5th, as these leaves are believed to have medicinal properties that ward off evil spirits. Sachi explains that iris leaves are used in Boys' Day festival arrangements, sparking a discussion about their versatility. Toda mentions he takes annual iris baths, prompting Sachi to share their benefits, like promoting health, being used in aromatherapy, and even as stuffing for iris pillows. Toda admits he's never tried an iris pillow but is eager to. She encourages Keigo as well, assuring it's worth the experience, and he nods enthusiastically. While they work, Sachi remembers Keigo-kun requested time off for Golden Week and asks about his plans. He responds vaguely, saying it's something like that, and apologizes for leaving during a busy period. She reassures him that the team can manage and urges him to enjoy his break, easing his guilt. Grateful, he thanks her for her support. As Golden Week nears, Sachi reflects on how time has flown in the flurry of work. Thinking back to her youth, when days felt endless, she realizes her junior year was a decade ago. Nostalgia washes over her, making her appreciate the present even more. Just as she is lost in thought, Toda interrupts her, presenting a box of snacks and explaining that his parents had requested him to share them with everyone. The sudden interruption brings her back to the present, and she smiles, grateful for his kindness and thoughtfulness. She thanks him warmly, acknowledging it's his last Golden Week as a high schooler and expressing deep gratitude for covering the shift, which has truly saved her. As she shares her appreciation, he unexpectedly replies that he wanted to see her, which is why he took the shift. Her astonishment is short-lived as he quickly grins, admitting he's joking and explaining he simply couldn't afford a trip. As they chat away, Marita suddenly pops up out of nowhere, and they exchange pleasantries. As he tries to leave, she grabs onto his shirt, curious about how he spent his break and who he spent it with. Her sudden boldness sets his heart racing, and when he turns around blushing, she realizes her slip-up and apologizes. She takes a moment to compose herself, feeling a tad frazzled by the unexpected encounter. She tries to play it cool by asking about his Golden Week plans, but her nerves are evident as she nervously waits for his response. He hesitates to share, but eventually spills the beans about his noisy family gathering with his folks. She quickly apologizes for catching him off guard, and they continue their conversation with a newfound understanding of each other. As he shares his story, she listens intently, feeling a sense of connection with him. He then asks her if he needs to provide a reason for requesting time off, and she explains that it's not necessary, as there are many valid reasons for calling off. He looks at her and asks how her break was, inquiring if everything was okay while he was away. He admits that he was worried, and she reassures him that they were busy, but managed to cope. As they discuss their breaks, she can't help but feel a sense of appreciation for his concern. However, he clarifies that he wasn't just asking about work, but also about her personal safety, expressing concern that she might have been bothered by suspicious individuals. She brushes it off, mentioning phone scams, but he reiterates his concern, warning her that there are people who might take advantage of her. His words leave her surprised and puzzled, and she can't help but feel that he's expressing his feelings for her. As her heart beats faster, she thinks to herself that it feels like he's just confessed his love for her for the first time. She apologizes and promises to be more careful, and just then, her coworker enters the room, reminding him that his shift has already started and he needs to change out of his uniform. She also reminds him to hurry up, her heart still racing from their conversation. As she reflects on their interaction, she can't help but wonder why, even after 10 years, he still feels the same way about her. The exchange leaves her flustered, replaying his gaze, words, and the warmth in his tone. It stirs feelings she thought she had long buried, making her feel as though she's been transported back in time, uncertain if she's ready to confront them. She reminisces about her past, contemplating that she has consistently struggled to decipher others' emotional states. This realization makes her think about how her thoughtless remarks and actions frequently irritate those surrounding her. As she drifts to sleep, Keigo's face lingers in her thoughts. She wonders if he truly harbors affection for her or if her memories, blurred by time, are distorting her perception. Reflecting on the past decade, she realizes how consumed she's been with her own life, rarely considering others. Perhaps there's something vital she's overlooking, some detail that could shift her entire perspective. The next day at the boutique, she gathers her team, reminding them it's the dreaded second Sunday of May, Mother's Day. With a mix of pep talk and warning, she tells them to brace themselves for the chaos that awaits. As the day whizzes by in a blur, she's left wondering if she even blinked. She wraps up by thanking her crew for surviving the Mother's Day madness. Then Toda says goodbye to them both and mentions that he's heading home to sleep since he's had enough for the day. Sachi tells Keigo-kun that it's gotten late, and if he wants to head out too, that's completely fine. However, he looks at her and says no, explaining that it's dark and he's walking her home. She tells him he doesn't need to walk her home, but he insists it's no big deal. After some back and forth, he convinces her to let him accompany her. As they stroll towards her house, she casually asks if he gave his mom carnations for Mother's Day. He admits that he used to when he was younger, but not since they moved. The mention of moving triggers her memory of his pledge to come back for her. She asks him directly where he's been living until now. He says they moved to America, explaining that his dad got transferred there for business. She was shocked, asking if he was living abroad. He confirms that his dad and little brother are still there. She asks with surprise if she has a little brother, feeling astonished that she was unaware of this despite their friendship. He compliments her, saying that despite her busy schedule, she does exceptionally well. He remarks that preparing all those flowers must be exhausting. She responds by saying that this time of year is certainly challenging, but she finds joy in seeing her customers' smiling faces and doing what she loves for a living. This passion for her work is what drives her, and she believes that there's no greater joy than this. Her love for flowers is a big part of this, and she confesses that she has a deep affection for them. As she shares this, he gazes at her face, smiles, and remarks that she hasn't changed a bit. He recalls asking her 10 years ago what she wanted to be when she grew up. She had turned the question back on him, prompting a teasing remark about how his dad always said not to answer a question with another question. Apologizing, she revealed that her dream had been to become a certified floral designer and continue her family's flower shop. However, doubts about her abilities and fears that her parents might not entrust her with the shop had held her back. As they stroll, she thanks him, saying his words inspired her to finally share her dreams with her mother. She admits feeling inadequate at times, but is grateful to have pursued her passion. He compliments her, calling her amazing for following through. Reflecting on their past, she shares that their conversations always motivated her to try her best. With a smile, she confesses that without him, she wouldn't be where she is today, as his encouragement sparked her determination to work hard. She reminisces about her past, recalling how she once felt bullied and tried to escape reality. Yet she remembers him as someone earnest and always trying his best. This memory brings a smile to her face, and he smiles back, admitting he only wanted to match her level. Her kind words, he says, motivate him to work hard and stand beside her again. Her expression darkens with worry, and she asks if she said something wrong, fearing she may have stirred up painful memories. Apologizing softly, she admits she forgot. He gently places a hand on her head and reassures her with a warm smile, saying it's okay. He remembers and can remind her of anything she's forgotten. Flustered, she steps back, expressing gratitude for their friendship and his reminders. She mentions her house is nearby and thanks him for walking her home and his hard work, turning to leave. Just as she departs, she pauses, grabs his shirt with playful eyes, and teases him about forgetting to give him a flower. She hands him a leftover carnation, saying his mom might like it. As he accepts it, his face flushes, his eyes crinkling in a way she finds endearing. Embarrassed, she quickly runs home, leaving him holding the flower and a heart brimming with emotions. As she walks, she wonders if Keigo-kun has feelings for her or if she's imagining it. She tells herself she needs to face him directly and clear the air. As Marita reflects on his life, he comes to a troubling realization. He's never really had any goals of his own. His life has been a series of obligations, doing what was expected of him, studying and taking lessons because he was told to. But he's never discovered a passion that drives him. He recalls a time when someone praised him, calling him a good kid, cute, hardworking, and obedient. But now he feels that praise was just a result of him meeting others' expectations, something many kids experience. A memory of Sachi-chan suddenly flashes in his mind. She once said that flowers respond precisely to her feelings. It sparks something inside him. Maybe there's something out there that he could devote himself to, something that brings him joy and fulfillment. Just then, Toda calls out to him, snapping him out of his thoughts. He approaches with a grin and invites him to lunch. He initially declines, but Toda teases him, insisting he actually wants to go. Despite resisting, his friend persists, saying they have plenty to talk about, and eventually they sit together. As they eat, he notices Keigo holding a form, the Future Goals questionnaire, and asks to take a look. He hesitates but then declines, insisting there's no need to share it. Curiosity getting the better of him, Toda presses on, asking if there's something he's hiding. Toda jokingly suggests that his biggest goal is to marry Sachi-san, but the joke doesn't land. Instead of laughter, his words spark a heated response from Keigo. His face reddens with anger, and the lighthearted moment turns tense. Realizing his mistake, Toda quickly tries to backtrack, apologizing for the joke. However, the mood has already shifted, and the conversation becomes awkward. Frustrated, he hands the paper to Toda, who scans it with surprise. "Are you really that smart?" Toda asks, taken aback. Curious, he asks Keigo-kun how he studies, eager to learn his secret. Keigo brushes him off, saying as a senior, he doesn't need advice from someone younger. Toda laughs, admitting he's often on the verge of failing his classes. The chat veers towards their boss, and with a cheeky smile, he asks if there have been any developments in that area, feeling optimistic. Keigo shuts it down swiftly, saying it's not his business. But he persists, playfully teasing Keigo and hinting at a hidden interest in Sachi. His pal gets defensive, claiming innocence, but he detects there's more to the tale. Grinning, Toda makes a bold move. He playfully suggests that his charm might sway her and even remarks on her assets, only to backtrack when he realizes he may have crossed a line. Keigo stands up abruptly, saying he's done talking, but as he begins to walk away, he pauses when Toda shows him something on his phone, a conversation that catches his attention. He leans in, his curiosity piqued. He demands to know why she shared her contact information with him. Toda explains that she gave him her number because he requested it, and that they discussed meeting up, though it would be difficult to coordinate without direct communication. As he listens, he learns that she hypothetically allowed Toda to share her number, but only if he treated him with respect as his senpai. This revelation stirs up a surge of anger in Keigo, and he demands her number. Toda remains calm and coolly suggests that he start tutoring him if he wants it. After a moment of thought, Keigo agrees to the deal, his irritation tempered by the prospect of getting what he wants. His face lights up with excitement as the deal is made. Toda shares the phone number, and he quickly inputs it into his phone. He can't resist a teasing remark, joking that now that he has her number, Keigo should ask her out. Before parting ways, he sends her a text, letting her know that he saved her number and asking if she's free to meet up the following Sunday. He feels a rush of anticipation as he waits for her reply. Meanwhile, she's having drinks with her friend, Shoko Yamamura, who praises her for her hard work on Mother's Day. Her friend points out that her dedication is well rewarded and skillfully steers the conversation to a more personal subject. Sachi mentions that she's received a text from a high school student asking her out. Shoko reacts excitedly, but she quickly urges her to lower her voice. The playful exchange is interrupted by Shoko's daughter, who innocently asks if she's going on a date. Smiling, she explains that a boy had asked her out, and Shoko encourages her to take the opportunity to socialize. She teases that it might be just the thing to break her workaholic routine. Though hesitant, Sachi admits that she does want to know more about him. Her friend reassures her that age differences shouldn't be a problem and that going on a date is just a chance for two people to connect. Her calm demeanor suggests she's already made up her mind. Later, as Marita lies on his bed, his phone buzzes with her response. She's agreed to meet him on Sunday. A rush of excitement runs through him, and he smiles, eagerly anticipating their upcoming meeting. At the same time, she sits with her heart racing, wondering if she's made a mistake but feeling a spark of excitement for what's to come. Standing in a public spot, dressed in casual attire, Sachi is approached by a boy who asks if she is alone and wants to accompany him somewhere. Feeling uneasy, she nervously responds that she is waiting for someone who will arrive shortly, hoping to deter the boy's advances. The boy continues pressing, asking if the person she's waiting for is a friend. She confirms, hoping to discourage him, but he persists, suggesting they invite her friend along as well. Just as the situation begins to feel uncomfortable, Keigo-kun arrives and intervenes, asking the boy with a serious expression to explain his intentions. The timely interruption brings an end to the awkward encounter, and the boy quickly retreats, apologizing and fleeing the scene. Turning to her, he inquires if she is okay, and she expresses gratitude for his timely intervention, feeling relieved that the situation was resolved without incident. As they begin walking, she can't help but notice how mature he appears in his attire, noting that they seem to be around the same age. This observation leads her to remark on his appearance, and she apologizes if her comment might be impolite. However, he dismisses her concern, and they continue on their way. As they walk, he compliments her, saying she looks especially lovely that day, and wonders if it's due to her outfit. His words are accompanied by a blush, and she can't help but smile at his charming comment, feeling a sense of appreciation for his kind words. As she walks alongside him, she thanks him for his kind words, feeling a sense of gratitude for his thoughtful compliment. Her friend's careful selection of her outfit and makeup for the day also comes to mind, and with a humble gesture, she bows and apologizes for her appearance, saying she's sorry she's not more presentable. He quickly reassures her that his comment was a genuine compliment, putting her at ease and allowing her to relax in his presence. As they stroll through the park, memories of their childhood come flooding back, and she can't help but reminisce about the good times they shared there. She asks him if he still visits the park, and he replies that he occasionally stops by, prompting her to wonder what they must look like to others, considering her friend's earlier statement that this was a date. Her thoughts are interrupted by the vibrant hydrangeas in bloom, which catch her attention and inspire her to take some photos. He notices her fascination and suggests taking some pictures, commenting on the flower's beauty and encouraging her to capture the moment. She becomes excited, rushes over to the flowers, and snaps a few photos, feeling carefree and joyful. Returning with a beaming smile, she apologizes for keeping him waiting, and he reassures her that he had fun simply watching her. His words send her heart racing, and she can't help but notice his smile, thinking that it's a rare sight, and its sudden appearance is almost too much for her heart to handle. He reminds her with a smile that their first meeting was also quite amusing, and she recalls the encounter, blurting out that she thought he was really strange back then. Noticing the wound on his nose, she asks if he is crying because he was bullied when they first met. He shares that he was actually feeling lonely, with no one to play with, as his father worked late and his mother had to care for his younger brother. As they continue their stroll, she feels a deeper connection to him, understanding the vulnerabilities he shared with her. During their casual walk, he casually mentions that his scar was from a rogue cat, leaving her surprised. She quickly apologizes for assuming otherwise, but he graciously thanks her for caring, admitting that meeting her changed his life. He confesses that she brought happiness to his days, and she listens attentively, feeling their bond. Playfully, he points out her tendency to apologize too much, and she admits her habit. He gently tells her to stop apologizing as it doesn't bring him happiness. Instead, he wants her to have fun and enjoy their time together. She nods in agreement, feeling a sense of relief. As they approach the lake, she suggests riding the Swan boats, asking if he's ever tried it before. He replies that it's usually an activity for couples, but she encourages him to be spontaneous and try it with her. He's hesitant at first, citing concerns about being alone in a cramped space, but she reassures him that it's okay to be a little childish sometimes. He eventually agrees, but not before warning her that he's been told that riding the boats might not be the best idea for a date. She persists, emphasizing that they're friends, and he reluctantly agrees. As they prepare to ride the boats, he reveals that he doesn't want to just be friends, hinting that their relationship might evolve in the future. She listens, feeling a sense of excitement and possibility. As they walk, she stumbles and he catches her, asking if she's okay. She replies that she's fine, but her shoe has caused a sore on her foot. As she prepares to put on a bandage, he offers to buy them some drinks. While she's bent down, he catches a glimpse of her cleavage line and becomes awkward. He quickly snatches the bandage from her hand and tells her to sit up straight, trying to compose himself. As he attempts to put on the bandage, she insists that she can do it herself. He stands up, positioning himself to block her cleavage line from view. She quickly puts on the bandage, feeling a sense of relief. As she looks up at him, she can't help but notice his masculine presence, thinking to herself that he's indeed a man now. She becomes flustered, wondering if her friend had this in mind when she encouraged her to wear the outfit. He notices her gaze and smiles, feeling a sense of connection and understanding. As they sit together at the cafe, she finds herself stealing glances at him, noticing the subtle details that make her heart flutter. When the waiter informs her that her chosen dish is unavailable, she smiles politely and selects an alternative without complaint. He watches her closely, admiring her composure, and asks if she's always so kind to everyone. She admits she tries to be, but nervously confesses that his presence sometimes makes her lose her words. She notices how perceptive he is, particularly toward her. Curious about his time in the States, she asks him about his experiences. He shares how people there are assertive and outspoken, and she laughs, remarking that she'd have struggled to get a word in. He chuckles, recounting moments of bickering he actually enjoyed. She teases him about always trying to present himself well, but he shrugs, claiming he doesn't care about others' opinions since he'll likely never see them again. She points out the importance of first impressions, but he questions if it's exhausting to always be mindful of appearances. She laughs, saying it's part of being an adult. When she asks why he returned to Japan, his response catches her off guard. Looking directly into her eyes, he tells her he came back to see her. His openness leaves her flustered, but she thanks him for his honesty and encourages him to focus on himself. He reassures her that he enjoys spending time with her more than anything else. When he takes her hand, her heart skips a beat, and she struggles to process the emotions his gesture stirs. As the evening grows late, she suggests sending him home, but he insists it's his responsibility to accompany her. She laughs and calls him a kid, reminding him of their 10-year age gap and his being a minor. Still, she thanks him for the day and suggests they could go out again sometime. His face lights up at the idea, but when she refers to him as a friend, he frowns and admits that the word hurts. She's taken aback as he confesses his frustration, questioning why she won't take him seriously. She tries to explain, pointing out that as he grows older, she'll be well into her 30s. She insists that someone his age would be better for him, thinking about his future. But he interrupts, his intense gaze making her heart race as he tells her to stop looking at their connection so logically. She nervously asks him not to look at her that way, though she acknowledges his reliability and maturity. In a sudden move, he leans in and kisses her, leaving her stunned. Her mind races as his heartfelt words spill out. He tells her how much she's meant to him over the past 10 years, how she's the only person who has ever truly mattered. Holding her arm gently, he implores her to see that he's no longer the boy she once knew. His love for her has only grown stronger with time, and he challenges her to confront her feelings instead of brushing them aside. She stammers, attempting to downplay her own emotions by saying she's not someone worthy of love. He interrupts, passionately telling her not to decide for others or assume how they feel. His only desire is to be with her, without conditions or expectations. Her face flushes, and she struggles to respond as he apologizes for being so direct and bids her to take care. As he walks away, her heart pounds with conflicting emotions. Watching him go, she marvels at the intensity of his feelings and the sincerity of his words. For the first time, she feels truly cherished, and a small part of her wonders what the future could hold for them.
Here I am, know it's been a while.